So we're in late August, or probably by the time I get this out it'll be early September, and well, since March the world has all but stopped spinning, and so I've spent a lot more time than usual sitting in front of this very screen, this I'm in front of right now. I'm bored shitless. It dawned on me though that I have a giant backlog of games in my Steam library that are to this date untouched or mostly bar a few minutes, so why not try them out? So for some time now I've been using a site called SteamDB to check out cool things about my account. It can show you how much money your account's worth, both in today prices and sale prices, how much value per hour each game you have played is worth, and it can even recommend you games, which is the feature we'll be using today, boys and girls. I still don't really know how many games I'm going to cover in this video, but if it takes off I'll make it into a series covering several unplayed games per video. This will either be a really fun experience or a really horrible one for me, as I know I have some dud games in my library, some really bad ones that I bought because it was funny or just because they're very poor quality games. Yes, I do have way too much disposable income. I only wanted to buy a load of these low quality games as I thought, hey, reviewing them would be funny as we get to dunk on terrible crappy Unity asset flip games, but you know, I haven't got around to doing it, and so many of them lie untouched in my Steam library. That's not the only reason I have loads of games though. I also have plenty from Humble Bundle, from free game giveaways, and just from general purchasing games that I completely forgot I even bought. Oops. So come with me on an adventure as I play some games that I probably never even knew I owned. But really quick before I get into it, the premise of this is very simple. So using the random game picker from SteamDB, I found 5 titles that I either haven't given a go or haven't given a go for longer than 15 minutes. That aren't sequels and I definitely haven't reviewed on the channel before. Those titles are, for this episode, Hacknet, One Finger Death Punch, Tales of Berseria, Hector Episode 1, and Mega Man Legacy Collect. So 5 titles, given the consideration of the length of my videos. I'll try my very best to make this video no longer than 15 minutes. I shall also try to give each game 15 minutes of runtime too, to get a broader understanding of the game's content. This episode will probably be 16-17 minutes as I'm laying out the rules of the series. But that means 5 games reviewed in 15 minutes, meaning 1 title every 3 minutes. According to Google, you should comfortably be able to speak 390 words in 3 minutes. Therefore, I shall try to get the main gist of the game in writing in 390 words to cut down on filler, so short, quick-fire reviews. Here we go. And so, without further ado, we begin. Hacknet. So Hacknet is a 2015 release from Team Fractal Alligator, and it is a game that allows you to simulate hacking. Its OS-based art style keeps it looking simple while allowing for complex gameplay. You will progress through the game by typing out code and command lines. There is a very engaging story that is unravelled as you progress through the game. While I was immediately confused upon playing it, as I am a smooth brain, it is worth playing because it's so unlike any other gaming experience you are likely to play in the next few months at the very least. It feels like a puzzle game but with an unravelling story. The soundtrack is great but can get repetitive, but for sure, if you want an insight into what it's like to be a hacker from a legal perspective, this is worth a shot. This game is based on Unix commands, of which is a family of multitasking, multi-user computer operating systems originating from AT&T Unix. It's been around since the 70s. But this game will throw you straight into the deep end with only a few hints, which are usually just a few command lines as you're plonked straight into a persistent world with no levels or anything game-like to break that immersion of being a elite hacker. The story revolves around a dead hacker known as Bit. Don't worry, none of this is spoilers. You're contacted by his ghost in the form of an automated failsafe system, drawing you into the life and world of underground hackers. The game boasts an accessible but not uncompromising game design that, to quote the store page, says, whilst not holding your hand or dumbing down, the design of the game and the learning curve enables those with no prior terminal experience to enjoy it whilst delighting those in the know. My only advice would be to dedicate a fair bit of time to get used to the game mechanics. The game, however, does have full Steam Workshop support, allowing you to create your own stories and levels around the concept of being a hacker. The game's soundtrack features artists that are featured in Hotline Miami and from a featured artist known as Remy Gallego. The game retails on Steam for around £7.19. One Finger Death Punch is the type of game I can imagine someone thinking up after watching Kung Fu films for 72 hours straight, coming down with food poisoning, trying to sleep it off and having a fever dream about being Jackie Chan or Jet Li. This is in no way a criticism, it is awesome. This game is pretty old by now, releasing in June 2013 on the Xbox 360. It soon found a PC port being made a few months later before it was ported to Android and shortly after iOS devices. It was developed by Silver Dollar Games. The gameplay is incredibly simplistic, which works to its charm. There are 2 buttons, left click and right click. You click when an enemy gets close. The game gets progressively faster as you do this, and soon your reflexes will be all that save you from failing. You'll see me restarting levels out of sheer frustration here, as yes, I am a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to games that have medals, and I just felt compelled to platinum every medal in every level before it dawned on me that in no way takes your health into consideration and is solely based on hits and misses. Now, the game doesn't look too graphically impressive, being a game about stick people beating each other to Kingdom Come, but the simplistic art style allows it to be accessible. The glory kills are a bit more stylized, and it really sticks out, making the game fun to play. It also has a good way of letting you know what you were doing well, and also trying to throw the player off their concentration. It's a dick move, but I get why. Every single button press matters, so button mashing here will not work, but yes, the feedback is immediate from your button press to the action performed on screen, so the gameplay is extremely satisfying and fluid. The game definitely has replayability as a factor, especially if your goal is to platinum every level. The game features a shit ton of Steam achievements too, so you'll definitely be engaged for some time with it. It's a useful game to play if you're waiting for somebody to join your Discord call or die in their game of PUBG and join your lobby. Tales of Berseria. Why did the random picker have to select this? A super weeby game. Right, well here goes. Tales of Berseria is the 16th entry in the apparently popular Tales franchise. It is a self-described Japanese-style role-playing game from Bandai Namco. Now I'll start off by saying that Japanese games for the most part aren't my cup of tea. The way they're designed right off the bat is annoying. Big worlds, a basic quest, and next to no help. Not that I need hand-holding, but a little advice would be nice. The English dub of this game is meh, shoddy voice acting, and before I get the whole, well you should just play it in Japanese with the subtitles. No, just because it's in a language you can't understand doesn't make the voice acting less awful. But yeah, the game opens to a 6-minute long cutscene of some people running through the woods, a werewolf, and a girl with a giant monster claw. I'm already so confused. Then you get to run around and try and figure out what you need to do. Your first quest is to go to the woods and collect something from there. That's fine. The only problem is I can't find the fucking woods. Even though you have a minimap that seems completely irrelevant because it doesn't actually point out where you need to go, like most minimaps would. The controls seem very convoluted too. I get it's a Japanese RPG and it might not be accustomed to the WASD control scheme that we have so readily adopted here in the West. But god, these controls are dog shite. I'm not going to lie to you, the opening cutscene made me feel a little bit uncomfortable too, as fleeing the woods are two kids who are panting and it just doesn't sound right at all. However, I'm trying not to let my bias of thinking this game is just weeby trash affect this review. This game has a lot of content though, and while you can recruit a group of heroes and travel in a pirate ship, for fans of JRPGs this is probably a great game, but for me it's a no. It costs $39.99 too. I got it from September 2018's Humble Bundle. It has very positive reviews featuring real-time battles and a compelling story. If JRPGs are your thing, give it a go, but it's not for me. Hector, Episode 1. Now you will have seen that the random game picker recommended me Hector Part 3 at first, but that goes against the rules, so I ignored it. But it recommended me Hector Part 1 right after, so very well, Hector we review. Hector is a point-and-click adventure game about a detective by the name of Hector, and, I'm quoting, the hard-nosed, soft-bellied lawman of Clappers Reek, a town that took the great out of Great Britain. He's violent, drunk, and has a taste for all things criminal, corrupt, or smothered in curry. My kind of guy. Now, I really enjoyed my time playing this because it's oozing with British humour. It's also a Telltale IP, so it's going to have a great story baked into its gameplay. The graphics are very simple looking and comparable to a point-and-click flash game, and the gameplay is simple enough to pick up. Click once to inspect something, click twice to interact with it, and pick up objects that you can use to interact with other objects in various ways. Hector is sold as the full package of the 3-part series on Steam for £11.39, and it would make a great animated series if it was ever put to screen. Would you believe it or not, Hector Part 1 was originally released as an iOS game that translates very well to the PC. It's a very traditional adventure game where you will have to explore various scenes and gather items and talk to NPCs to gain more items and give those items to complete puzzles and progress. Hector's puzzles aren't genius level difficulty, but they may require a bit of thinking. The game does have a hint system, which gives you hints to solve them with no penalty except an insult to your intelligence, adding to the tongue-in-cheek charm of the game. Oh, I do love it when games make me feel like a dumb fuck. To be fair, for a game ported from iOS, it doesn't look half bad. It doesn't lose any of the graphical fidelity due to the game's art style, the NPCs are definitely memorable, and in a game as short as this, it helps that so many characters are worth talking to in order to further the story. The dialogue is perfect. Clever, witty, the most British thing I've heard in a game, with the writing changing from being witty to raucous and excessive in an instant. Hector can blurt out some very inappropriate comments which will definitely give you a chuckle. It's worth a pickup. Now on to the last game for this episode, Mega Man Legacy Edition. Mega Man Legacy Edition was released in August 2015 for PS4, Xbox One and PC. It's a classic platformer from the classic NES era. The game features remasters of roughly 6 or 7 original Mega Man titles, full controller support, and obviously it will run on anything you try to play it on pretty much. They are the best versions of the original games with a sprinkling of challenges and extras on top for good measure. The gameplay is simple. You run, jump, shoot, don't get hit by enemy projectiles, and collect the little gems and trinkets in levels. Something I'm not overly great at, but ho hey. Capcom did well releasing the Mega Man collection, as they appear to have been sleeping on the Mega Man IP for a while. The original Mega Man is over 30 years old. Mega Man is one of those games that's unforgiving in its level design and enemy placement. It will punish you for not concentrating and require you to study enemies and their movement patterns and repeat stages until you can whiz by them in a matter of seconds without taking any damage. The Legacy Collection allows for save states, allowing you to hold the carnage right there for a later date or before a tough boss battle to reload and save scum your way to victory if you so desire. Digital Eclipse, the people responsible for porting these titles to newer systems, have done a fabulous job of retaining the originals, which feels like you are playing on the original NES hardware, but with a few cosmetic improvements being ironed out for the game. The game feels so authentic, even down to the scan lines, sprite flicker, and slowdown when the action gets intense. Yes, the glitches that players can exploit for speedruns and easy cheesing of levels are still there, so you can rejoice in the fact that the original quality of the games from 30 years ago are unchanged. It is total fan service, with concept art, promo art, and bios for all the Robot Masters being included in the game's museum and database sections. It really is a passion project, and long-time fans will appreciate the attention to detail in this collection. It might have less games than the Anniversary Collection, but it's a far superior product. So that's my first 5 games for this Backlog Lottery, or Backlog Bonanza, whatever I'm going to call this, I don't really know. But the selection wasn't amazing, but it's the luck of the draw with a random game picker. I hope this series gets the support and stuff, because I really want to do more of this. Keeping the reviews short like I have set myself the task of prevents waffles, so it is handy. I enjoyed this format and I don't know what I'm going to get. It's kind of like a lottery. One video I may get some gems that I never knew I had, other times I might just get crap. Please bear with this series, as some episodes therefore will not be great, but I will try my best to make them entertaining. Is 15 minutes long enough to cover 5 games, or should I up it to 20 minutes, give me an extra minute to talk about each title? Any constructive feedback is welcome. See you soon with the next one, I guess.